Welcome to a tutorial on how to read plans. If you're watching this video, you might be a client of ours or some of the general public who are just wondering, hey, how the heck do I read these drawings? Basically, the overall way to think about drawings here is to first look at the cover. The cover sheet is sort of an index, just like a book, right? And so if you're looking for particular information, the first place I would go, I would take a look at this drawing list and I would try to understand what kind of drawings is my designer or architect giving me. So if I was interested in the landscaping plan, in this case, on these set of drawings, it's SP4. If I was looking for, hey, I want to understand what my main floor plan looks like, I would pay attention to the drawing list here and take a look at, looks like drawing A2, right? So what do those A2 and SP4 and all of that relate to? Well, they relate to these drawing sheets down here, right? So again, if it was the floor plans, right, I think it was A2 was our main floor plan. Let's say you had the question of, hey, I'm on the main floor plan here, and now I want to go to an elevation. In other words, what does the front of my house look like? Well, you'll notice there's some different kind of drawing symbols, and they look a little bit like this. So I'm going to zoom in on that. So there's a circle and then a little number right outside the arrow. And what this means is if I wanted to see this front of my house or building or whatever, I would go to sheet A8 and drawing number 1. In this case, with this PDF, the way I'm viewing it right now, and this will work too if you're viewing it as a PDF. If you're viewing it manually, literally with a printed set of drawings, well, you're going to flip to sheet A8 and look for drawing 1. In this case, I'm just going to click on the arrow and it brings me to sheet A8 down here. And then remember, it was drawing 1. Well, drawing 1 is indicated down here. Same thing with number 2, which is kind of the opposite of the house. Let's say I was looking at the PDF still. Now I want to go take a look at the upper floor plan. I would just click on that little tag. Did you see how that worked? Pretty nifty, right? And so taking a look at this upper floor plan here, then maybe again, you have more questions. And one of your questions is, well, what does the inside of my master bath over here look like, right? And particularly, like what is this whole side of the wall look like? Well, this symbol looks awfully familiar, right? Again, it looks exactly like the exterior elevation tag, but in this case, it's an interior elevation tag. And so drawing on sheet A13, drawing 14, because the arrow's pointing this way, I could just click on that or go to that sheet, and all of a sudden, those drawings are available to me, right? And if you remember, we noted it was drawing 14. Well, drawing 14 is way over here, and I can start to look at what those vanities look like. Let's go back to drawing a sheet. I think A1. I'm just going to type in 3 up there. Yeah, now I'm on A1. Let's say you wanted to know, hey, how big is my house? In this case, the area plans are on sheet A1. And so what these tell you is, if you're always wondering, hey, what is the total square footage we're looking at here? Well, in this case, it's in the area schedule, and they correspond to these drawings that are the area plans. So I could do some quick math, and I could say, looks like the upper floor area is 1,464, 1,203, and then the basement or lower floor is 735. So 3,400 square feet. Or I wanted to know how big my garage was, etc. Let's say though you're looking at this basement down here. You want to understand like what happens between the crawl space, for instance, or the basement, right? In other words, I want to be able to see through my building. I want to see like what happens underneath the stair. What's the stair height like? Well, there's another set of symbols that you can take a look at that give you another set of information, right? And these are called sections. And so those sections, the heads of them look very similar to the elevations. In other words, you can see the little A9 down here. That A9 indicates that it's on sheet A9 and it's drawing number 2. And then the arrow is pointing north, right? So I'd be right where this line is where I'm cutting through the architectural model and then looking in a 2D view, right? It's called a tail, section tail. That is also indicating further, one more clue for us. What direction is it facing? So if I'm looking at a PDF, I can just click on this little arrow and I can all of a sudden see exactly what's going on, particularly with my stairs. And I'm I was curious to know about the head height, how all that worked, kind of maybe what the details are, right? Which kind of brings me to the last piece of information to really, if you're trying to understand architectural drawings and what you're looking at, just navigate, just being able to navigate through them is the hardest part. After you're able to navigate through them, just like I'm showing you, you should be able to find most of the information that you're looking for if they're a decent set of drawings, right? So let's say my last piece of information I'm looking for is, hey, what are these stairs? How does it exactly work? Like, how are they connected or anything? You'll notice that there's this little head right here with some lines that go around it, right? That's indicating it's a call out, a detail call out. If I click on that again, this little arrow or this little circle, then it brings me to a bigger, more blown up, basically detailed kind of drawing for the stairs, right? And then it goes even further, one depth further, like, well, here's kind of this, all these notes sort of describe what I'm looking at in terms of like the stairs and how they're built, but maybe I want to know how they're connected. I could click on that detail. It looks like it's actually on the same sheet, 2A14. So if I navigate down to 2A14, boom, gives me all kind of information for my stairs. And then there's the other thing to think about too, is if I want to, let's just go back all the way to drawing 1. And I didn't go into details about the other kinds of drawings that were included in this set in particular, but we can kind of note them at least. There's architectural drawings, which usually start with A, and then there's electrical, sometimes mechanical, sometimes plumbing drawings. Those would be MEP, right? So you would go to those if you wanted to know anything about plumbing, electrical, or mechanical. And then obviously structural drawings. So those are noted in the S drawing. So if you're wondering, like, what kind of engineering are they suggesting for my house, you would go to either the MEP or S drawings, which are at the end of the drawing set. So I hope this was helpful and gave you a good primer and leg up on how to read our drawings or someone else's.